She said she loved him. She said it was passion. She said it was self-defense. But what police found inside the bedroom told a different story. In June 2008, Travis Alexander was discovered dead inside his Arizona home. The crime scene was brutal, the evidence was overwhelming, and the suspect was the woman who once called herself his soulmate. This is the story of obsession, manipulation, and a relationship that turned deadly. This is Midnight Sin. Travis Alexander was known as charismatic, confident, ambitious. He worked in sales, traveled often, and was deeply involved in his religious community. Friends described him as outgoing, motivational, someone who believed strongly in personal growth and success. He was building a future, setting goals, making plans. But what many didn't know was that behind his public image, he was caught in a dangerous emotional relationship, one that would eventually cost him his life. Jodi Arias met Travis in 2006 at a business conference. She was quiet at first, soft-spoken, appearing shy and reserved, but their connection developed quickly. What started as flirting turned into constant communication, long phone calls, late-night messages, intense emotional bonding. Jodi became deeply attached, not just romantically, but psychologically. She began reshaping her life around Travis, changed her appearance, changed her behavior, even converted religions to match his beliefs. Friends noticed something unsettling. Her attachment wasn't healthy, it wasn't balanced, it was obsessive. Their relationship was unstable. They broke up, got back together, argued, reconnected, over and over again. Travis tried to distance himself. He dated other women, tried to move on, but Jodi refused to let go. She continued contacting him, showing up unexpectedly, monitoring his life. Text messages later revealed emotional manipulation, jealousy, control, and resentment. Behind the scenes, the relationship became a psychological battlefield. Travis wanted freedom, Jodi wanted possession, and the tension continued to grow. In the months before the murder, Jodi's behavior became more extreme. She tracked Travis's movements, drove long distances without telling anyone, showed up uninvited, created fake online accounts, monitored his social life. Her emotional dependence turned into fixation. Friends later described her as unpredictable, intense, and emotionally unstable, but no one imagined how far that obsession would go. On June 4, 2008, Travis Alexander was found dead in his own home. The crime scene shocked investigators, and the evidence would point directly at Jodi Arias. But what happened inside that house would become one of the most disturbing crime scenes in modern true crime history. Concern began to grow. Friends hadn't heard from Travis Alexander. His phone went unanswered. Messages were unread. When two friends entered his home in Mesa, Arizona, they immediately knew something was wrong. The house was quiet, too quiet. They followed a strange smell upstairs, and inside the bathroom, they found Travis, lying motionless. The scene was shocking. There was blood on the walls, blood on the floor, and clear signs of violence. Police were called immediately. When investigators arrived, they realized this was not a simple robbery. Nothing valuable was missing. There were no signs of forced entry. Whoever did this was someone Travis trusted. Detectives carefully examined the house. What they found painted a chilling timeline. There were signs of a struggle, blood patterns showing movement, footprints in the hallway, and evidence that the attack happened in stages, not quickly, not impulsively, but gradually. It suggested that Travis fought for his life, that he tried to escape, that he was attacked in more than one area of the house. This was not a moment of rage, it was a prolonged confrontation, and someone stayed long enough afterward to attempt to clean up, Bleach was found. Towels were missing. Water damage was visible in the bathroom. The killer had tried to erase what happened, but they failed, because something crucial remained behind. Inside Travis's washing machine, police discovered a digital camera, damaged but recoverable. When technicians examined the memory card, they uncovered photographs taken just hours before Travis died. The images showed Travis alive, smiling, relaxed, unaware of what was coming. But the final photos told a different story. Images captured during the attack, blurry, chaotic, disturbing, accidentally documenting the crime as it happened. And there was one more detail, a reflection in the mirror, a glimpse of long, dark hair. It belonged to only one person, Jodi Arias. At that moment, the investigation took a sharp turn. When police contacted Jodi Arias, she denied everything. She claimed she hadn't seen Travis in months, said she was nowhere near Arizona that day. She provided an alibi, told detectives she was on a road trip, alone, traveling through Utah. But investigators already had phone records, gas receipts, security camera footage, all showing her vehicle near Travis's neighborhood. Her timeline began to collapse. When confronted with the evidence, Jodi changed her story. Now she admitted being at Travis's house, but claimed something shocking. She said masked intruders broke in, that Travis was attacked, and that she escaped. Police knew this didn't match the evidence. There were no unknown fingerprints, no forced entry, no signs of additional suspects, and the camera photos told a different truth. After Travis was killed, Jodi did not report anything. She didn't call police. She didn't warn anyone. Instead, she went on with her life, returned home, spoke casually to friends, acted normal, even flirted online. Investigators described her behavior as emotionally detached, cold, calculated. It was not the reaction of someone traumatized by witnessing a violent crime. It was the behavior of someone trying to hide one. More evidence surfaced. Her DNA at the scene, blood in her rental car, witnesses placing her nearby, digital records tracking her movements. Piece by piece, her lies unraveled. Detectives realized this was not an accident, not self-defense, not an outside attack. This was personal, intimate, and driven by emotion. And now, they needed the truth. When Jodi Arias was finally brought into the interrogation room, she would change her story one last time. What she said next divided the courtroom and turned this case into a media obsession. Her final version of events would place her at the center of the crime, but claim she was the real victim. Inside the interrogation room, Jodi Arias sat calmly, no visible panic, no tears, no shock. Detectives presented the evidence, the photographs, the phone records, the timeline. One by one, her story began to change again. This time, she admitted being present, but claimed the killing was self-defense. She told investigators Travis attacked her first, that she was in fear for her life, that everything happened too fast. But the physical evidence told a different story. There were defensive wounds on Travis, multiple injuries, signs that the attack continued even after he was no longer able to fight back. This was not a moment of panic, it was sustained violence, and investigators knew it. When Jodi Arias was officially charged with murder, the case exploded across national media. Courtroom footage went viral. Her interviews became controversial. Her behavior unsettled viewers. At times, she appeared emotional. At other times, detached, cold, even smiling. The public became divided. Some believed her story. Others saw manipulation. But everyone was watching, because this was no longer just a murder trial. It became a psychological spectacle. In 2013, Jodi Arias stood trial. Prosecutors laid out the timeline, displayed the photographs, reconstructed the crime. They argued this was premeditated, driven by jealousy, control, and obsession. The defense pushed the self-defense narrative, claimed emotional abuse, tried to reframe the relationship. But cross-examinations revealed contradictions, shifting stories, inconsistent details. The jury watched hours of interrogation footage, listened to expert testimony, and studied the physical evidence. Slowly, the truth became clearer. After months of testimony, the jury reached a decision. Jodi Arias was found guilty of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. No freedom, no second chance, no escape. For Travis Alexander's family, there was justice, but no real closure, because nothing could bring him back. Experts later described Jodi's behavior as deeply manipulative, driven by obsession, fear of abandonment, control issues, and emotional dependency. She didn't want Travis to leave. She didn't want him to move on. And when she realized she could no longer control the relationship, she chose destruction instead, not only of Travis's life, but of her own. This case left behind more than headlines. It became a warning about toxic relationships, emotional manipulation, and the danger of obsession disguised as love. It showed how intimacy can become a weapon, how trust can be exploited, and how quickly passion can turn into violence. Sometimes monsters don't look like monsters. They look like lovers. They look like friends. They look like people we trust. And sometimes they sit across from us, smiling while hiding something dark underneath. This has been Midnight Sin. If you believe these stories deserve to be told, subscribe, because darkness doesn't disappear. It only hides until someone turns on the light.